Welcome to my channel where we cover the lore of Final Fantasy XIV. We cover the stories both big and small, the epic and the cute, the silly and the tragic. I hope you all enjoy the ride, and welcome to the Chronicler of Lore. The city that Emet-Selch created is so big that it makes Alphinaud feel like a pixie as you all stand in front of the elevator leading to the lower floors. The odd size is the least weird part of this whole experience, however. The door actually speaks to you and calls you by name, welcoming you to Amaurot. But Emet did invite you to the place, so it only makes sense that the doors would open for you. Which is good, because if the elevator hadn't worked, it would have been a long fall to reach the ground floor. The entire place seems peaceful enough, but the size of the buildings makes you all feel really small. But not as small as the giant robed person who's standing a little ways away makes you feel. Even though the figure could squash you by accident, Alphinaud figures that the best way to find out some information is to talk to it. The rest of the scions follow him just in case the giant is hostile. It's actually pretty friendly, and he sees you all as children in cute costumes. He speaks in a language that you've never heard before, but you all understand it anyway, and he's more than willing to answer some of your questions, which are mostly about the city. Right now, you and the Scions are in the district where most of the institutions are that manage the planet's most vital functions. When you ask who rules the place, the giant is confused because they don't have a solitary ruler. They do have a convocation of 14, which makes the major decisions for the people and the planet. Emet-Selch is a part of that group, and at the moment they're in the process of putting their final plan together to stop the final days, which is getting closer. Which means none of you will be able to get an audience with Emet at the moment, so the giant tells you all to go home before your parents start to worry. He even offers to take you, an offer that you decline. The whole exchange was weird, but Y'shtola can see that, like the city, Emet made the people too. With the giant mentioning the final days like it's about to happen right now, it makes Eorzea think that the city and all of its inhabitants are recreations of Amaurot in the short time right before the disaster. The fact that Emet wanted you to come to his recreated city and summoned his people with the minds to talk to you means that you can use them to find out some much needed information about the convocation, the final days, and of course Emet's location. So you all split up to question the giant robed Amaurot. They really are all eager to talk, like Emet wanted you to learn about his people's past. The Convocation of 14 is made up of 14 of the wisest people. They make all of the major life-altering decisions for the people, and they have some members whose names you might recognize, like La Habrea, Elidibus, Logrif, Matron, and of course Emet-Selch. However, there seems to be some type of dispute within the group, and they may be losing a member soon, something that's never happened before, which is a sign of how stressful the current situation actually is. But the regular people aren't worried. They trust the Convocation will save them. But even they don't know what's causing the final days. A loud sound randomly comes from within the planet and starts to distort all the living things around it, causing them to lose control of their creation magic. When that happens, every negative emotion that they have is given form, and fire falls from the sky and monsters appear, destroying everything. They haven't found the source of the problem. It's almost like the planet itself has gotten sick. Right now it's only happening across the sea, but it will definitely spread to Amaurot too, and that'll be the end of everything. The only hope they have is for the Convocation to go through with their plan to give the planet a will of its own, creating a being of great power and changing the very laws of existence. The other Scions learned a little bit too, although Alice hated being treated like a child. She didn't like it when she was one, so she really hates it now, even though she's still pretty much the size of one. The others had conversations similar to yours, talking about creation magic running wild, the final days, and the Convocation. The really interesting thing is the Amaurot's creation magic. They can make anything they think of real. All they need is a clear desire, some focus, and boom, stuff pops into existence. That sounds very similar to how primals are summoned on the source. The difference is the Amaurot have massive amounts of ether in their own bodies, which lets them do creation magic without any outside tools, like crystals or ether from the land. The place is fascinating, and the stuff the Warrior of Light is learning is really cool, but she is dying and none of your searching has gotten you any closer to Emet-Selch. But he's a part of the Convocation, and they're in the Capitol building, so he should be there. But when Thancred tried to go in, they turned him away because he didn't have permission to enter. However, the place seems to know you, so if you talk to the right person, you may be able to get them to open the doors for you all. The Bureau of Administrations is the place you have to go to ask for permission, so while you do that, the others will keep looking around, both for a cure for you and a way to sneak into the capital just in case you can't get the doors open. At the Bureau, your name is in fact on their approval list, so they will happily write out a visitor's pass for you. It won't be done for a while, so you have to sit and wait. Immortal beings really don't have a good grasp of time, so there's no telling how long you'll have to sit there. Honestly, anyone who's ever been to the DMV knows that mortals don't have a good grasp of time either. While you sit there, in pain from the light inside of you trying to eat its way out, an Amaurot named Hyphlodeus sits beside you. Unlike the others, he knows that you're from a different time than him, and he knows that he's an illusion. He thinks Emet-Selch may have made him more aware than the others because in the old days they were really good friends. But there's still not much he can do besides talk, and he tells you about what happened when the final days actually hit. The Convocation had lost a member by that time, and the 13 that remained made the decision to summon Zodiark. But to do it took a large amount of power, so nearly half of their people gave their lives to fuel the summoning. And it worked. Zodiark was made and the destruction was stopped. But the planet was devastated already. A lot of species were wiped out entirely, the water was poisoned, the land uninhabitable in most places, and even the wind had stopped blowing. So another half of their people gave their lives to give Zodiark the power to heal the planet. That worked too, and so the Convocation started working on its next plan. They would nurture the world until it was once again overgrown with life. Then they would sacrifice some of the new life to Zodiark to give him the power to restore the people who used their souls to power him in the first place, letting everyone and everything return to the way it was before the final days ever happened. However, some of the Amaurot thought enough had been sacrificed to Zodiark, and the new world they made should be left alone to flourish. These people gave their lives to summon Hydaelyn to fight for their viewpoint, causing the Amaurot to be divided for the first time, and leading to a war and the Sundering. Emet-Selch, to this day, is still fighting to finish that plan and restore his people, a burden he's been carrying practically by himself for millennia. And with what Hyphlodeus knows of his friend, it's probably been really bothering him. He has the fate of his entire race on his shoulders, which is a pretty heavy burden to carry. The story lasts long enough for your visitor pass to finally be done, so you tell Hyphlodeus bye, but he causes you to stop when he mentions the fact that he can see Arbor walking next to you. He doesn't fully see him, but he can see the extra soul that you're carrying around. He's probably the only one who can see him, but the fact that you can see Arbor is only natural, since before the Sundering you were one person. He can tell by the color of your souls. Sundered or not, those don't change. It's like your fingerprint. If someone chops off your finger, the print doesn't change. He's actually not surprised you ended up doing the things you've done in life, or that you ended up where you are, because he knows who you were before, and Emmett very likely does too, or at least he has an idea. Hyphlodeus calls you his new old friend, letting you know before he fades that like he and Emmett, you and him were good friends in the old world too. With your visitor's pass in hand, you head back to meet the others. You were gone for so long that Thancred thought you might need to be rescued, but the fact that you came with the means to get into the capital is good because while there are no guards anywhere in the city, there was no way to break through Emmett's magic to get inside. Alice and Reen tried to find a cure for you, but the Amaurot are really only able to talk about their issues. They're like very detailed automated messages, so they weren't really all that helpful. You, of course, had a far more interesting story to tell them, which lets the Scions understand that when Emmett told them that they didn't have a clue about what he really planned, they really didn't. If he completes the rejoining, he'll use the life energy of every survivor to restore things to how they were before. And there's still the matter of what he plans to do with the Exarch. A fight is coming, but Reen wants to see if there's another way because you won't be able to hold back if you even want a small chance of taking down Emmett. And if you push yourself too hard, you'll become a Sin Eater. The Scions will stand by you whether you choose to fight or not, but everyone knows that you won't back down now. And despite all of the power that Reen got from Minfilia, she still feels scared and powerless. Even now, if you started to turn, she wouldn't know what to do to help you. You've all been there to help her when she needed it, and Minfilia even died to give her a life of her own, yet she still feels like a useless failure. She's been trying to follow your example, but she doesn't think she can do it. The stress is getting to her so much that Reen actually starts to cry. But she doesn't understand that if you've given your all to do something, you didn't hold back or skip steps, even if you fail, you have no reason to feel ashamed. You did all you could, and that's all you could do. If she wants to be like you, then she has to learn a lesson that a very good friend taught you. Fate can be cruel, but don't cry about it, because a smile better suits a hero. Taking your words to heart, Reen forces herself to smile, and you all head into the capital to confront Emet-Selch once and for all. And that's where we're going to stop for today. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and ding that notification bell. And if you want to buy me a coffee for my work, sign up to become a member of the channel. Until next time, guys, later.